Good Monday morning to you. Welcome back from the break. It's Life and Style, Inspiration Monday. Time now for books and blogs. I'm Catherine Mwangi, and this morning we have Steve Muchiri, who is an author and a motivational speaker. The thing I'm finding that we're doing a lot nowadays is there's a lot of upcoming young authors and bloggers, and it's incredibly inspiring to feature their stories. So why don't we go together and just see what this young man is about? Karibuni sana this Monday morning with this young man who's making us all laugh. His name is Steve Muchiri.
Yes.
I like your smile. It's very big and genuine.
Thank you.
And we're not having this cold juice because uko na kahoma.
Nitakunywa baadaye.
Baadaye.
Yeah.
Karibu sana Books and Blogs.
Asante.
Naona umematch hata viti zetu. Unaona vile uko smart.
Thank
Ulijua
you.
utakalia kiti ya maroon.
Sikuwa najua. I just, maybe I was in the spirit. So.
You're in the spirit.
Yes.
Kujichocha. You're well though?
I'm well.
Perfect.
Yeah,
so you
thank
have
you.
2 books,
Yes.
but even before we delve into them,
Yeah.
I want to read what I have seen here that I
Okay.
really like, because I'm meeting a lot of young authors like yourself.
Yeah.
You're very young, I can tell.
I am.
You see?
Yeah.
Thank you for agreeing.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
it says you're a gifted inspirational speaker,
Yes.
an entrepreneur and founder of Deals Africa Enterprise,
Yeah.
a personal development consultancy. That's the company what
Yeah.
the company does, right?
Yeah.
Then you speak in different platforms, including corporate entities, schools, universities, churches.
Yes.
As well as you shape opinion on personal development and life skill matters in
Yes.
print and electronic media platforms.
Yes.
You're doing a lot. You're also the founder of VIP, Victors in Purpose.
Yes.
Wow. And then your book's also on Victors.
Yes.
Hiya. Where do we start? You choose where to start. Today I'm giving you the mantle.
All right. My name is Steve Muchiri. I'm an author, an inspirational teacher. I like calling myself an inspiration teacher because I love teaching people on life skills and personal development, because I'm very passionate about it. And also my purpose is aligned to giving hope and inspiring my generation through the gifts that God has given me.
Yes.
And that's now writing and inspiring. So why I write is because I want to create an impact. As a young person, I want to make a difference through, writing and sharing my own experiences. Because these books are actually written through my personal experiences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So things you've been through,
Things I've been through.
you have shared.
I have shared.
And that's, I think, the most powerful thing for any author. Like, you cannot write
Yeah.
outside a vacuum. It has to be things you've gone through.
True.
Yeah, because then you're more authentic that
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So Victor, there is a lot of Victor in my. Actually, I call myself Steve Muchiri Victor.
Oh.
Because Victor is like my brand. Why I decided to call myself Victor is because when I was 16 years, I lost my entire family, and that's now mom, dad, brother, and sister. And they didn't die at once. It was like after 2 years, this one dies. After 5 years, another one dies. So by the time I was 16, I realized I found myself, orphaned, and not having a nuclear family, and that really affected me, because I was only 16, a teenager, trying to get an identity, trying to, think what life has in store for me. I don't have my parents. I'm in Form 2. I don't know whether I'll clear in high school because school fees problems and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether I would even go to university. But, it's a story of hope because God turned it around.
Yeah.
People came through for me, especially my family,
Right.
my extended family, my uncles, aunties, my grandparents.
Yeah.
They decided to support me until I finished school. But you see, now I still had that problem of grief. I was really grieving a lot, because you would wish away like 4 family members just like that.
What
because
happened?
You have I started with my sis. She had pneumonia. I'm the firstborn, born in 86 November. She was born 1990, got pneumonia, passed on. Then life continued. My mom, of course, was very affected, and also my father. Then 1997, my brother was born. Sorry, 1998. By the same year, anemia and meningitis. So he passed on at 9 months. I was devastated. I was 12, and I really loved him. Now that I had lost a sister at a young age, I knew I had a playmate. Then now my mom in the year 2000, I think she was dealing with so much, and she was sick in and out of hospital. She had typhoid and malaria that really affected her to a point of even collapsing in the house. So she was taken to hospital 1 week, then she passes on again. She passes on, and I am in denial. I'm like, this is not happening, this is that person dying. Then my father, I'm left with my father in the year 2003, December. Yeah, not December, August, I discover he has tuberculosis. Then in December, he's hospitalized because of meningitis and tuberculosis. Then in January, he passes on. So at that time now, I was, when he passed on, it really hit me that this was a big tragedy, because I didn't know how even I would get to handle that. But by God's grace, I'm a born-again believer. So I trusted God, and I told God, now you really have to show me where this life is headed to, because I was in fear. I thought maybe I'm next. Your family members dying one by one, and you don't even know what it is, because it's normal. It's not normal, but there are illnesses that are taking them. It's not an accident. So by God's grace, I was able to push through. Then I went to campus. I studied psychology because I really wanted to understand what was, because I knew I was not okay. So many things were happening. So I decided to take a course in psychology, and then I also enrolled in a school for personal development, because I wanted to know my purpose, because I felt there's no way I would have gone through all that and then I just live like that without knowing what God wants me to do with my life. Because even when I was going to campus, I was not sure psychology is a thing that I really wanted to do. But I felt I should do it. Maybe I can help somebody, if I don't help myself, because they say you cannot be your own doctor. So by God's grace, I met a lecturer. Actually, we were doing a course in grief, and she asked us as a class who has gone through grief recently. At that time, I had lost now my paternal grandfather, the father to my dad. So those were now 5 people who had passed on. So I had never shared this, because when I was, after my father died, the last person now in the nuclear family, I was taken in by my relatives. So people never used to know those are not my parents. So people were shocked. They were like, you mean you don't have a family? I'm like, yeah, I live with my relatives. And so I was cancelled. The lecturer decided to take me through counseling. Then at that time, I was also in the school I was telling you, the personal development school, where we were being taught about purpose. And I discovered that my purpose is tied to my story, to give hope. And it's then that I discovered I have a gift to write. And I penned my first book. And now I decided from that time, because I was living as a victim of my circumstances. Sometimes I would feel like pity for myself. I'm like, will I ever amount to anything? I've been injured by life. Things have not worked my way. So I used to have that. It's like I used to have a bad attitude about life. And I decided, because I have discovered now that my story is actually can encourage so many people, I will write a book and I'll start sharing it. Even if I get a platform, any platform, I'll share it. And let me tell you, when I did that, my healing started. This book, I published it in 2012, September. By 2013, 2014, it was doing so well. And, so many people are encouraged. So many people had, hope. They were like, some of them were asking, is this story real? Like, yeah, it is. Because, people read it and they're like, what? And it's amazing. It's so amazing that God uses, sometimes he breaks us to make us, to make something new out of you. And you look at it and you even laugh, because sometimes I look at my life, I'm like, God, I went through all these things. Now you are helping me reach out to so many people, through different platforms like this one. And that gives me so much joy. It's the thing. I always say, this is my thing. I love giving hope. I love telling people it's not over until God says it's over. And there is so much. Despite what you've gone through, you can rise again, do something with your life, and become a pillar of hope, and inspire so many. And that's my motivation. That's my
Wow.
motivation.
Wow.
That's why I write. That's why I do the things that I do.
Yeah.
Because I really want to leave an impact and do something that will change the society. Because there is so much.
Yeah.
People are going through so much.
Yeah.
Life is itself difficult, but we need some inspiration to push on and to know that despite what has happened, you can still, rise up again and become a victor. Yeah.
Wow, that is so powerful.
Thank you.
So looking at you, one can never know that you have overcome such tragedy in
Yeah.
your life, and
Yeah.
you lived to tell it.
Yeah.
Through this book, not just this book, there's also another one,
There's another
and
one.
we'll get to it.
Yes.
I see here your forward has been done by Irene Moreithi.
Irene Moreithi, yeah. You know her?
Yeah, I know of her.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Irene Moreithi is a lady who helped me. Okay, she was a principal of the Personal Development Institute.
Yes.
So she saw something in me. She was like, "There's something about you." Because she asked me, "What do you want to do?" I told her she's an author as well. She told me, I told her I want to give people hope. She asked me why. Why do you want to give people hope? I shared the story, and she was in tears. She was like, "I'll work with you. I'll help you. I'll mentor you." She even gave me a job at Personal Development
Wow.
Institute, where now I was training the young people to
Yes.
understand who they are.
Yeah.
And she helped me even get a publisher, the one that has published that book. And she was really mentoring me, giving me opportunities, platforms, even in a school to speak to the other students.
Wow.
And that's how I was able now to, through mentorship, because you
Yes.
cannot come up alone.
Yeah.
You need someone who.
Divine helpers.
Yeah,
I call
and
them.
I would say she's one of the divine destiny helpers, and I really thank God for her.
Wow.
Because she's been very supportive.
And how did the two of you meet?
Actually, it was. I was listening to Hope FM. One day I was going home, driving home, and I was feeling so low. And then I tuned into Hope FM, and I heard her speaking about understanding your purpose, and I was like, she left her contacts, and I was like, I have to call that lady and get to meet her. That's how we met, and from then I also went for another. Event. She does events for public, inspirational events, and I decided to go, and now we met personally, and from then now it's been a journey.
Yeah.
And she forwarded that book, and yeah.
What a story.
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah.
So you have turned that tragedy into triumph.
Into triumph.
Yeah.
And the most amazing thing, this book has sold since 2014. I've done like 4 reprints.
What?
4 times. Like I sell the first batch. I've sold like I think it's over 2,000 copies now.
Wow.
Yeah, and I really thank God, because it's being a first time writer. I didn't know, because you see Kenya, we are coming up in terms of people having a reading culture. I think we are trying, but we've not yet reached there. So looking at that and seeing how this book has gone, I think
It's the grace of
God has,
yes.
God's grace.
Yes.
Yeah, so I really thank God. I really
Amazing.
thank God. Yeah, it has opened doors for me.
Yes.
Different doors, going to different schools,
Yes.
universities, even corporates inviting me.
Yeah.
Families, I get to go to family get-togethers where cousins are meeting, tell me, we want
You to speak.
to these guys, and I do it, and I feel so fulfilled. This gives me so much fulfillment, and I tell God, wherever you want me to go, I will go. Yeah, as long as I'm doing this, I can do it and do it again, because it's my passion.
Did you ever think your life would turn out this way?
Sometimes I think about it, I tear, I shed tears, because the honest truth is I was like, I didn't know one day I would be this person who's speaking to, first of all, I had a low self-esteem, so I didn't know how to talk to people, big crowds of people. Even standing and saying something was a problem. So, but by God's grace, as I always say, He has enabled me, and I look back and I see the Steve then, and I see this Steve that is seated here today, and I'm like, God, you are full of surprises.
Yes.
And indeed, I have experienced His grace. Like, as a person, God's grace is still sufficient.
Yes.
His mercies are new every morning. Every day I wake up and I'm like, God, your mercies are new every morning. And I still believe, sometimes I go through also, challenges like any other person. But when I look back, I see the person that God has allowed me to become. I get motivated.
Yeah.
I'm like, there is still hope.
Yeah.
And I tell young people, because as a young person, people sometimes look up to you. They think, I tell them, it's possible. Some text me, some go to Facebook, inbox me, tell me they are going through. I encourage them.
Yes.
And I tell them, I refer them to my story, and they read and they're like, wow.
Yeah.
I think I'll overcome.
Yes.
If God has helped you to overcome, I think I will also overcome. So for me, it's amazing. It's amazing. I sometimes I don't even know. I lack words to explain. Because actually, like when I go back home, because I left in 2005. That's when I left I was brought up in Embu County.
Okay.
That's my home county. So when I came to after high school, I came to Nairobi.
Yeah.
So when I went back, like recently, people look at me. I'm like,
Are you the one?
like, there is a boy who was left. They're like, wow, God is amazing. As in, people see me and it's like they get some new hope. They're like, wow. Now they see me. Some of them now see me like in these
Yes.
programs, and they're like, we know that young man.
Yeah.
That young man is from our village,
Yeah.
and he's doing amazing things. And when I see that, when I hear that, I say, all glory goes back to him, because he has just used me as
Yes.
a vessel, and I am really grateful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think one of the greatest blessings also to have come out of your story is that you had relatives who are willing to, educate you,
Yeah.
go through high school and campus.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
most people would not be that fortunate.
Let me tell you, and I owe it to God, because I have had stories. I have had stories of orphans being mistreated, being, when their parents die, they end up being in drugs and all that.
True.
But one thing I thank God for is my extended family. And I always, say that these guys are amazing. They've held me. They told me, every home, because my dad came from a big home, like he has 14 siblings.
Okay.
So every home, now they will tell me, every home you are invited.
Wow.
If you want to come, you come, just tell us, come. It's open, if you want to share, just come share. And not even that alone, even praying for me, they really pray for me.
Wow.
Others, because not everyone is well off. Those who are
Yes.
well off, they're like, we'll support you financially. And even in terms of even doing that
Publishing.
book,
Yeah.
they've been very supportive, very supportive.
Wow.
My grandparents as well, they are gone, but the person that I am today,
Yeah.
they played a major role, because they provided some resources that would, help me even in future. They're like, you know what, let's secure this young man's future. Let's, give him resources that would help him, even in the future, even when we are not there, he can still do something.
Yes.
And
That's such a blessing.
it's a blessing.
That was a good foundation.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people, look at me. It's not that I am, it's just by God's grace that I am where I am, doing the things that I do, having whatever I have. It's a gift from God.
Yeah.
I just owe it all.
Yeah.
I owe it all to God.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
wow.
And also friends, having
Okay.
friends who really don't judge you, and they take you as you are, with your own flaws, and everyone has got their own, we are human beings. And so family support, friends, and of course trusting in God and having, a relationship, a personal relationship with God.
Yes.
That's what has kept me going.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, as I said, things get really bad.
Yeah.
You think you've gone through something, and then something else comes, and you're like, God, how am I going to overcome this? But He still comes through. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. And then you wrote this book that followed this one, which is still The
Yes.
Journey of a Victor.
The Journey of a Victor.
Tell us more about that journey.
Now, The Journey of a Victor is a book I wrote after another experience I had.
Okay.
When I wrote this book, as I said, it did so well. The victor in every victim. Then after like 1 year, everything came to a standstill. You know, I was not, I when I wrote this book, I was employed. As I said, I was in employment.
Yes.
And then something happened. The job could not be sustainable, so I had to be like, we had an agreement that I take a break, and then now you have bills to pay. Then things, I was not very financially intelligent. I used all the money, to
From
pay
the first
bills
book,
for
yeah.
the first book.
Yeah.
I have no money for reprint. Then I look for jobs. I cannot get a job. Then I was at a place. I was like, oh my goodness. So things like went really tough for me,
Yeah.
and the journey became very difficult.
Yeah.
And I was asking God, did you get me out of this? And then you are taking me now to another thing that I was not expecting. I have a degree. I look for a job. I do for 3 months. The contract is ended. No renewal. So I have been jobless like 4 times. Every time I get a job, things would happen. My contract would end. Then I start businesses. They fail. And then I'm like, what's happening? Things became so difficult. To some point, I felt like, I would just give up
Yeah.
this thing, kabisa,
Yeah.
and, do something else.
Become okay.
Yeah, and I asked God, is this what purpose is all about? Like, yeah, I know my purpose, but why am I? Because for 2 years I struggled. People who had known me, they would look at me and be like, what's happening to that young man? And I was like, maybe God is teaching me something. And I was like, I started writing a book. And then I asked myself, how many people are going through even worse than what I'm going through? And then I decided I'll not just, complain and say, this is not happening. I have to get my act together and see what I can do. See what I can do and not give up on what God has, enabled me to already accomplish.
Yeah.
And I also looked at that book. Also, I also looked at issues that are affecting the society. For example, I have talked about the education system, and I thank God the government is doing that, where we need to focus more on helping people nurture their talents at a young age. Because, even in campus, the first 2 years, you read so much about the general courses,
Yes.
other than doing things that would, maybe reading courses that would help you nurture your talent. And I was like, something needs to be done. And I decided, let me pen a book, Journey of a Victor, because it's then that I realized victory is not, it's a journey. You get this victory, you don't stop there. You move on and continue. And in that journey, there are things that you're supposed to do. There are things that will help you now become that victor.
Yeah.
Being a victor is basically being having your own personal success.
Yes.
So in that journey, there are things that you need. First of all, you need to understand who you are. Because if you understand who you are able to know what you can do with your life.
Yes.
And things that you are good at and not good at, and be able to understand now, what step do I take? You have to have a vision. You have to have understand your purpose. You have to have goals. Then you have to have also, when you have goals, how do you execute those goals? Because having goals is very easy. Everyone can do it. Are you strategic? Being strategic enough to, and seeing what you can do, what resources do you have to achieve those goals? And are you now, when you get into the journey, do you have the capacity to move on, to push on despite what happens? Because I have never had a successful story without, challenges, and everyone who people, look at and they're
Yes.
like, wow, that guy is successful.
Yes.
They have their own failures and their own. So are you willing to move through that, where you fail, people ridicule you, like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
And you still move on and you still keep going. It's called resilience.
Yes.
Because there must be resilience.
Yes.
For any vision to be accomplished, you must be very resilient.
Right.
Then do you how do you take things like criticism? Because people will criticize you, whether you are good, even if you are so good, or whoever you are. No matter whatever you do, people will criticize
True.
you. So are you willing to take these positive and negative
Yes.
criticism? Can you understand what is positive criticism and take it for your own advantage? How do you shun negative criticism? Because it can, if you listen to it and allow it in, it can mess you up.
Yeah.
So basically,
Wow.
this book is just like a guide.
Yes.
To show you that even in your journey to success, there are things you need to do. You must be very intentional of what you want to achieve. You must overcome personal obstacles. You must embrace failure. You must embrace change, because change is the only constant thing in life.
You're right, yeah.
Everything is, there's something one can guarantee you is change. Things are bound to change. So how do you take that change? So I say this book is more of issue-based.
Yes.
Issue-based. And I wrote it because I want to encourage as well. I want to tell people, I've shared my own, you know, and the way, you know, I was able to come up and reorganize myself and, you know, come back again and be able to do, you know, something with my life and align my life and my business and my, you know, whatever I do. So it's just a book to guide you, to speak to the young people, to give them hope, to show them that, you know, this journey is possible.
Yes.
As long as you are intentional,
Yes.
you know where you want to go,
Yes.
you know what you want to achieve, and it's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as we wind up, could you let us know where to find these books? Is there a number they can call?
Yes.
So tell them on your camera.
Okay. You can find this book. I have a guy who distributes the books, and you can call 0725 513 774. That's my number. Yeah, I'll direct you how to get the book. And then you can also follow me on Instagram, Steve Muchiri Viktor. Like my Facebook page, Steve Muchiri Viktor. Also on Twitter, you can, you know, tweet Steve Muchiri Viktor. And I believe we can talk and see how you can get the book.
Give the number again.
0725 513 774.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Steve Muchiri Viktor.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. I
You're
have
most
a feeling we will converse with you again. I think there's a lot more to your story.
Thank you.
It's very inspiring.
I'll be glad to come back. Yeah,
well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless.
Okay. Amen. The same to you. That marks the close of Books and Blogs this Monday morning. Inspiration Monday it is. Let's hand it over to Beyond the Spot right after the break.
Nilipatikana writing ingine, nililandi chini kama hata niliamuka nikashindwa kweli ni mimi kweli, nikasema hakuna, haiwezekani kitu kama hiyo.